Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. Militia Man and Crew here once again, and I just wanted to say thank you for all you guys' support, for being here with us tonight. I think that we're going to be seeing some really powerful information that comes from many different things, but they lead up to some really powerful stuff, and that is what the central bank has to say. So bear with me and we'll get through it, and I think you guys will be smiling like me. Okay, so there's an article that's called Tabachili on Kurdistan's share of the region budget. We know that the region and the and Baghdad, which is the center, have been, going back and forth over the years, at least as far as I'm concerned, they have. But it says that Kurdistan's share of the 2024 budget, it says it's more than meets the eye. The KRI's share of the budget has always been more than meets the eye. A share that increased meaningful in 23, 24, and 25 budget, and increased further still in the updated 2024 budget tables, as this report will unpack. So it's very brief. It doesn't give you exactly what it unpacks, but the first part of the report shows that this share is calculated. The details of the direct and indirect allocations make up this share and the KRI's contributions to the federal government. The second part revisits a significant departure introduced to the KRI's share by the 23, 24, 25 budget. And finally, they say that it looks at a reset of the relationship between the Kurdistan regional government and the government of Iraq that introduced these significant departures, even after major changes introduced by the Council of Representatives to the budget articles. So I believe that what they are mentioning here is that there's that 2024 budget amendment. I think it's 12C, second paragraph, 12C, which they have already put in the Gazette. I think that they haven't exposed that yet. So we're going to find they've exposed it in the sense that they printed it, but they didn't give us the information. So that, if I'm right, we'll see how that plays out. If I'm wrong, well, we're going to see how it plays out. This article is al-Sudani, the Prime Minister of Iraq. The government places at the top of its priorities achieving noticeable progress in the service sector. The service sector is going to be for the citizens. It's also considered probably the private sector. It says the time of this article that came out was the 11th, which was yesterday, of 2025. The Prime Minister, Mohammed Sheikh al-Sudani, met today, Saturday, which was yesterday, of course, with the sheikhs and the dignitaries of the 1st and 2nd Kufa and al-Risala neighborhoods, located east of the capital of Baghdad, of course, which were among the first areas entered by the government service and engineering effort team, as they are unserved neighborhoods. So what's that mean? Al-Sudani is focused in on those that need it the most, which is fascinating, which is not surprising. Al-Sudani says here that says the government places at the top of its priorities the achievement of noticeable progress in the service aspect, and that the citizens everywhere feels a positive change in the level of care and service provided by the state agencies in all their aspects and responsibilities, and this is a government commitment towards the citizen. So look, all eyes and ears are paying attention to what al-Sudani has been doing. I think we all know that his 2024 has been about achievements, and there's probably going to be a little bit more achievements that are going to be talked about. It says here, though, just check it out, switch gears. We all know about the Silk Road Initiative, or they call it, well, it's the Silk Road Initiative, but they translate it, or they talk about it as the Belt Road Initiative. Okay. It says trade with Iraq reaches $50 billion won transactions in early stages. Okay, so what we were talking about, and we have talked about, is that Iraq is using other foreign currencies for trade. So what we're going to be seeing tonight is probably significant in the sense that $50 billion is a lot of money for trade for just one country. Iraq's not going to just trade with one country. All right. He explained that the monetary transactions between the two countries are currently in the initial stages. It says in the coming period, this will be developed as an important source for both countries. So the revenue stream that's going to come into Iraq from China is going to be massive. It says a large number of Chinese companies are opening in Iraq due to the safety and the stability of the country. Yeah, I know we've heard that for months, but for those of you that are out there saying, oh, I've heard this before, but you haven't seen what we're going to expose tonight. You have not. Neither have I. So it says the ambassador noted that Iraq's efforts in revival, development, and progress are clear, and there's potential for aligning the development road project with the Belt Road Initiative. That's going to be like interconnectivity, you guys. It's going to be that mean that they're going to be able to have the ability to have transfers, external transfers, which is moving money. Okay. So anyway, to be fair, that Iraq and this development project seem to be on kind of a rocky road there for a while, but it sounds like they've obviously are committed now because of the nature of the beast. And what they're saying is that the evidence shows that they are doing exactly what they've said they were going to do. And it's just been a process, a very complex process. So here's an article, it's talking about the Port Authority. The Port of Fez is one of the biggest ones. It's going to be one of the 10th largest in the world. It will be the largest in the Middle East. It says the Ports Authority announced launch of customs and automation system. We've talked about the SCADA system. That's how I pronounce it anyway. It says the National Data Center at the General Secretariat of the Council of Ministers announced the launch of the SCADA system in cooperation with the General Authority of Customs and the Border Ports Authority. It says they did it in 10 land, sea, and air border ports. After conducting a comprehensive assessment of the infrastructure in these 14 border ports specifically, within the framework of supporting the government's program, digital transformation and automation of customs operations in Iraq. They go on to say that according to a statement by the Secretariat of the Council of Ministers, the efforts included providing the General Authority of Customs with modern technology, with modern equipment, in addition to establishing a secure network system based on advanced servers and firewalls with the allocation of a separate environment to ensure data security and link the system to the secure government network. It goes on and we follow along. It says the Customs Automation Project aims to raise the efficiency of customs performance and facilitate the movement of goods in line with international standards in a qualitative step to support the national economy and improve the business environment in Iraq. The business environment in Iraq is completely 100% the private sector. So what does it look like? It looks like all systems are a go. What it is not like about the convergences, what is not like, what I say is what is not like to about the convergences that we are seeking to take place in real time. I think it is taking place in real time. There is a convergence. I think if you've been paying attention and reading the news in patreon.com/MM&C, I think you're going to find that what we're saying is it's all there. We've been watching it. We've been studying it. I think I've been involved in the Iraqi dinar for about 15 years, and I took it seriously because one of the things I learned from investors was to know what you own. And I believe I know what I own. It's no different than people saying that silver and gold are money. It's a fact, okay? So when they say know what you own, know it. And I think that those of us that own the dinar should know what they own. And if you don't, then yeah, you missed it. But you're still, if you're going to be with us, you're going to find out that that's a reality that should be close to your chest. This article says, including accelerating the completion of electronic payment plans, the Ministry of Commerce issues 3 new directives. This article talks about finance stops transferring employees' services between ministries due to the lack of knowledge of financial spending ceiling. So that reeks of what? Sounds like spending. If you don't know what you're going to spend, how are you going to spend money that you don't know what the value of it is? So, okay. It says stopping the transfer of employee services between ministries and entities not affiliated with the ministry of, or between its affiliated formations, whether centrally or self-funded, or transferring services from public companies, bodies, and self-funded directorates to centrally funded departments and vice versa. Starting when? They started this process on January 2nd, 2025. And it says, until the estimates of employee compensation, grant salaries, and company support for all ministries and entities not affiliated with the ministry, governance and their councils are determined and included in the estimates of the general budget tables for 2025. I think you all remember that they can't even do that yet until they finish up with 23-24. And those budget tables need to be advanced to the 2025. It's very powerful. Okay, for the purpose of it, what is the purpose? The purpose of it is for controlling the disbursement of salaries. We haven't seen the salaries done yet, right? This is a long read, but it says, without the need to resort borrowing and submitting these estimates to the council. Back up. Without resorting to borrowing. So people always ask that question, well, how are they doing all these things at 1310? Borrowing. That's my opinion of it. And submitting these estimates to the Council of Ministers for approval and recommending their submission to the House of Representatives based on the provisions of, there's an Article 77 of the federal government budget law number 13 for what years? 23, 24, and 25. And basically they stay before the end of the previous fiscal year to the House of Representatives for approval. So they needed to have at least that taken care of prior to the 2025 as I see it. This is due to the impossibility of transfers at the present time. So they can't do any transfers at the present time to transfer the allocations of those who will be transferred to, or to calculate the period of political separation of the service lawyers, or contractual and journalistic service, and to calculate the certificate for those who obtained it during service, referring to the circular. So it's a legal document, you guys. A legal circular department number, dated 2026, regarding allowances and promotions. So they're talking about what they're going to pay people or how they're going to spend. And basically, what is it going to be? It's all inclusive from 23, 24, and 25. Basically, they'll have to have a formula to spend regarding allowances and promotions for spending ceilings for the general budget. That's why the stopping of these payments and transfers on 01/02/2025 occurred as I see it. It says that, in my view, this reeks of that there's a need to change the exchange rate for the Iraqi dinar, or they would have already done it. If they haven't done, and they're going to an international state, which you're going to see, that they should have already done it by now. If it was going to stay at the same exchange rate, there's no other thing that you could come with that. Anybody and everybody that's been involved with the dinar should at this time say, well, they've been at 1310 for a couple of years, and or a year or more. Why haven't you done it yet? That's because they're looking for an exchange rate change, because that's what's going to happen. The investment side of the 2024 budget hasn't been exposed yet, and they may have published it in the Gazette, but they didn't tell us what it is. They didn't tell us exactly what it is. And why isn't the Parliament? Why did they not have a quorum today? Why did they not do that? Well, there's going to be some factions out there that are not happy about this, because the cash cow is seriously coming to an end. We already saw that the black market, the parallel market, or the dollar auctions, they're bye-bye. I don't care how many times I've said it, it's true. It's in writing, and we've already published that. So those that are out there suggesting that it's that wasn't going to happen, it already did, and there's going to be a little bit more evidence for that. Here, what is this about? It says weapons and factions confiscation tops discussions Why? Because al-Sudani is going to be in Britain tomorrow. Think about why he's going to be in Britain tomorrow. Britain is a financial center, one of the second largest financial center in the world. One of the key things you need to think about is in part of this article, you're going to probably find out, or if it's not this one, the next one, that there's about securing credit, or a credit cover, they call it, right? So credit cover, if you do your research, you're going to find out that that's about credit and insurance. So in other words, investors are going to need the insurance. And also they're going to need that banks, when they get Dinar recapitalized or brought up, the monetary mass, as they say, is going to bring in what? Money to loan out. And when they do loans, they want the population to know that they can have, or the investors to know that they can have insurance, that they can buy insurance. It's on the investor to buy that insurance so that if they do a trade deal, that they can, if they don't get paid, there's insurance. Okay, so this goes on. It says al-Sudani will make an official visit one day, which is as of now, I guess, tomorrow, well, relatively now, depending on time zones. He says he will also discuss the file of the economy, investment, armament and armament with officials in the United Kingdom. Well, one of the things about armament is going to be coming down to factions carrying weapons. Security stability is not good if you got guys running around with guns. So that's my point. It says al-Sudani will focus his discussions in Britain on the security file and will show that the steps of the Iraqi government in controlling the security scene and its steps towards controlling weapons outside the framework of the state, and the file of factions will be among al-Sudani's discussions there as an international desire to limit weapons of these factions during this next stage. It's interesting, the timing, though, of this one-day visit. And then the next article is probably going to kind of give you an idea that how serious it is. What are they looking for? They're looking for security. What are they talking about? Security, the economy, investment, and armament. All of those issues that he's talking about in this article are all important to having a safe, secure environment for who? Well, we talked about the Development Road Project coming into Iraq, Development Road Project underway, China, etc. Development Road, Silk Road Project, money, they need security. Investors need security. They don't need the armaments running around outside the state's control. So that's a powerful situation, and investors are going to catch that. They're going to know. Here's an article called The Economist. That's where it's coming from, an economist. The central bank's policy is moving towards globalizing Iraqi banks. This economic expert, his name is Safwan Qusay, confirmed that central bank's policy is moving towards globalizing Iraqi banks, while stressing that it will contribute to raising the status of these global banks. This is the beginning of what sets the stage for this whole show that we've been seeing, you guys. I haven't seen anything like this ever before in all my history, to see at this stage of where we finally are, or what it appears to be finally are. It says the central bank's policy is moving towards consolidating the issue of globalizing Iraqi banks and the process of ending dealings with the electronic platform, which we've talked about. A lot of people didn't think about that. What they have done will contribute to accepting local banks that have the ability to provide guarantees, insurance, if you will, and international compliance conditions with international correspondent banks. So in other words, local banks will be able to do and provide guarantees that they meet that criteria, and they'll be able to assure investors that there's some guarantees involved. It says these correspondent banks can carry out the process of changing the Iraqi dinar to any global currency immediately, and for more than 1 million banks around the world. Let that sink in. And there's a possibility to develop the performance of other banks in order to succeed in the international acceptance process. So they're setting the stage that other banks can get involved, but they're going to do up towards 1 million around the world. That is massive, you guys. But yet it says there's still possibility to import capital from different countries of the world and re-inject it. So they're going to put it back into Iraq from around the world into the local environment in the form of grants in different investment portfolios. Thus, the possibility of achieving the goals of the central bank in a matter of development. What is that? The Development Road Project, investors, guarantees. It's unbelievable. It says the central bank will move from the issue of accepting local banks internationally to the issue of participating in the development process. And this will certainly contribute to achieving part of the government's program goals in what? Employing the unemployed and informing productive capital, private sector, productive capital. Especially since a portion of Iraqis own Iraqi dinars, so this is cool, especially since a portion of Iraqis own Iraqi dinars that are outside the banking system. We're outside their banking system. All of the Iraqi citizens that hold dinar are outside the banking system, and so forth around the world. And whenever we start the issue of convincing them to trust Iraqi banks, we will have new doors open to operate this monetary mass. In other words, once you do what you're told everybody we're going to do, you're going to make the dinar stronger than the dollar, they're going to go like, okay, great. Do we want to come home? I wouldn't be surprised. And to do what? Deposit money, dinars, so that what? The banks can use it for lending to fund what? The private sector. Okay, he stresses that this step will contribute to raising the status of Iraqi banks globally. We're not talking about just, down the street and this is a 1310. That's not going to work. That's not what they mean. So what did they say? It says meaning that they will succeed in the process of having a name in international financial transfer operations. And gradually confidence between banks will be strengthened, and there is what is called credit cover. If you guys figure out what credit cover is, you're going to find out what is that. Insurance, it's going to be credit. So when they do loans, they can ensure that they get paid, the debtors. Okay. So it says what is called credit cover between Iraqi banks and international banks, and the level of confidence will be reflected in that credit cover. It goes on further and says, pointing out that rehabilitating these banks, especially the TPI bank, can contribute to our having international acceptance for international correspondence for these banks. That sounds like an interconnectivity in communication. International correspondence being information, to be able to communicate. I think that's what that means. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. We have more in Patreon and our Discord chat room. You can find this article and my view on it in my Patreon room. It's for members, and everybody's welcome, and even on a global nature, okay? Everybody. And thank you all for being with us, because that's you guys' support from around the world has been amazing. I appreciate that. And it's been a pleasure to be able to chat with a lot of you. And from around the world is fascinating for me. It's a whole new world for me too. So anyway, so the last article I'm going to talk about is the central bank successfully completes its external transformations. The statement is on strengthening balances and stability. So it says the Central Bank of Iraq has succeeded. So they've done something in adhering to its program related to the transition from foreign transfers via the electronic platform to the work of Iraqi banks through their foreign correspondent banks. Remember that? There's many countries that they talk about. It says the statement by the central bank, which this gentleman says on Sunday, today, the transition took place through stages that external transfer process went through. starting with the window for buying and selling foreign currency and moving to the stage of the electronic platform. So they went from the old dollar to this new electronic platform. That's their terms. There's a different name for it, but that's for the basics. For external transfers, and ending with operations to gradually enhance balances during the year 2024. And it was fully achieved in the last week of this year. So what they did was they actually fully achieved what they wanted to do in 2024. So we have been spot on about all of this. They just haven't told you yet. Just because all the articles say certain things doesn't mean it's all coming true. But here, this is coming from the central bank today. It says the central bank promised the achievement of radical transformation in line with the best international standards and practices to achieve a stable and secure financial system. Do you guys realize, though, that what did al-Sudani say? He said the strong dinar, it was going to be stronger than the dollar. Back when? He said those things back in 2023, and a lot of people are saying, well, he never lived up to it. He never lived up to it. Well, guess what? Get ready. So anyway, it says to achieve a stable and secure financial system. That secure financial system is exactly what they talked about in where? In the UN Assembly meeting in September 2023, subsequently later in Davos in early 2024, they talked about bringing confidence to the international financial system. They said that, we've talked about it, we have it in our patreon.com forum, Discord chat room, we've talked about it all. And here it is, it's in writing, it's in print. It's awesome. Okay, it says this work received international support. So what they've done has received, so in other words, past tense, international support and praise throughout the stages of all of this that's been going on. So they've been getting kudos ever since Sudani got here. Those that have been talking about Sudani's the bad guy and al-Awlaq's the bad guy, those folks were probably heavily invested in the black market, heavily invested in that parallel market. And all this time, all they did was probably take from the citizens. They've been, we won't even get into it, but I think you guys will get the picture. Okay, so it says from this standpoint, the Iraqi central bank will continue to enhance the balances of Iraqi banks, so they're going to keep doing what they're doing, with correspondent banks in the US dollar, in addition to a group of other currencies as we know about, which is the Indian rupee, the Chinese yuan, the euro, the Emirati dirham, and the Saudi riyal, and the Jordanian dinar. And I think it says amongst others, but anyway, maybe not. Okay, so it says this achievement has enhanced the efficiency and safety of foreign transfer operations. So that's cross-border payments. They're ready to go. And their transition to the method followed in countries of the world, so similar to everybody else, which will make Iraq's approach a new stage in its financial relations. So this is all new, regionally and internationally, and enhance the government's orientations in expanding its economic relations and enhancing investment opportunities. That's the private sector. Economic relations, good relations is always good. Enhancing investment opportunities. Why? Because they've got the security and stability, and we have already seen that China's already dumped about 50 billion into the country. Amazing. And it's more to come, everybody, in my view. He points out that the efforts in this important achievement came through a series of ongoing, detailed, technical procedures and agreements, and great support from the Iraqi government. It says that achieving financial stability in its position among central banks in the region and the world. So they've achieved financial stability and its position among central banks in the region and the world. Really? Al-Awlaq's the bad guy? I don't think so. Okay, it says which will be positively reflected in the confidence. Remember that word, confidence? Davos meeting? Go back and look it up. See what they say. It's going to talk about confidence. What did Sudani say in 2023? He's going to bring confidence effectively to the international financial system. he wasn't lying, and he's not going to be a liar. What did I tell you? This started, these last two articles showed that they did, and they've attained this recognition in 2024, but they just didn't tell us yet. That Gazette, why did they hide that Gazette? Why did they hide that? Is it 42, 48, 205, 48, whatever, 48, 482. I think that's what it's going to be. But anyway, it goes on, it says, the statement explains that the management of the Central Bank of Iraq seizes the important opportunity to express its thanks. So they thank you for doing something, and its appreciation to everyone who contributed to achieving, for doing this great accomplishment. First and foremost, the cadres of the Central Bank of Iraq, the banking sector in Iraq, and all international partners. I'm not sure if you guys are getting the totality of this, but I sure am. It says the Central Bank of Iraq expresses its full readiness to support all Iraqi banks that work to develop and enhance their performance in the field of governance, compliance, and combating money laundering in a way that positively reflects on the confidence of international and regional banks in them to contribute to strengthening the Iraqi banking system and the Iraqi economy in general. Look, the word is out by now in the central bank. The external transfer process was in play all along, like I've said. It's now in black and white. We can read it. The external transfer process has taken place already, as I stated, as they state, as the last week of December. They've exposed what they've done today, not only by the economists in that last article, but they also have discussed it by the Central Bank of Iraq directly. They've accomplished what they said they were going to do, in that they've announced their accomplishments. You can see that. Again, as all of us take the totality of this in, it is truly powerful, and it's not just in a regional sense. Right now, it's on a global level, everybody. I mean, that's powerful. The evidence is quite clear that Iraq has gone international where it comes to international transfers, and in doing so, they have brought the confidence to the global financial system that they told the world they would do in September 2023 at the UN Assembly, and then subsequently at the Davos. We have yet to see today, we have seen today, is the Iraqi dinar to be stronger than the dollar? Sure, we haven't. Is it going to be? Absolutely. So look, that's what we fully expect from today's news out. I mean, to me, it is like a wow, wow, wow. I mean, I'm ready, get ready. Because what we just exposed tonight, or shared with you guys tonight, more so than exposure, it's just that because it's already public, so, is very powerful in nature, and it supports the, thankfully, Militia Man and crew have been on top of this, paying attention. Super Samson has just knocked it out of the park for years. I mean, long before we even got started, she's been doing that. We've had other people like Petra. We've had other people like Pompey Peter, of course, his awesome videos that he so kindly shares with us. He's over there having a little vacation right now, and I think he's smiling large, which is cool. We have people like Gigi. She helps keep our Patreon and our Discord chat room running smoothly. You guys may be a little bit tight on some of the things that we do, but the bottom line is having continuity, having positivity is important. So do we focus in on all the negative? No. Everybody can go get that anywhere they want. They can just turn on the TV. You're there. So keeping a positive attitude, helping people is what we do, and that I want to thank again everybody for being with us on that. And I'm going to end this, is that these two last articles in this file are something to take very seriously. And if you don't, and if you're doubting your investment, hang in there, because what they're saying is truly something that I've never seen in my 15 years of being here. And the evidence is not from me, and it's not from anybody else on the internet. Is directly, the latter part is from an economist and the central bank. they did it today. Boom. I think it's huge, guys. It's exciting times. I'm not sure I'll sleep tonight, but hey, in the meantime, is there more to come? Sure, we haven't seen the exchange rate, but guess what? As you can see, the stage is set. So enjoy, have a good night. Thank you again for all those donations to Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal. They're much appreciated, and they've gone a long way to help keep this all coming. And again, if there's more to come, we'll keep doing so. And don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, and I'm getting closer to that 50,000 mark. So thank you very much, everybody. You're much appreciated. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated as always. Much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.